what you
Well,
expect?
I carry this speech with me for the rest of my life. Got it underlined as well. No, I mean, I think it's what I've been asking for 7 years. I think there's space for all of us. And I think I echo Yusli in a different way, that obviously I've always wanted a level playing field. And I think if today is fully implemented, then AirAsia can really unleash the whole potential of the company. Obviously, AirAsia is one of many companies, and I only know our story. We don't know how many other AirAsias are out there who could be as big, if not better than AirAsia, given a level playing field. And so, you know, we're thrilled by it. And you know, people say, will it be implemented, will it not? I think at least it's been said. And I think that's a massive step forward. And I applaud the Prime Minister for saying that. And I'm optimistic. I don't think crowding out is an issue. I think where there is a, it's a strange situation. I call it the Paddy Hearst syndrome, where basically the regulators are very close with the incumbent. And so there's that natural tendency to protect the incumbent as opposed to look at the whole national objective. And that's why I love the banking industry, because it appears very independent and well regulated, and it looks at what's good for the country. So I think, you know, look, GLC should be allowed to compete, but compete fairly, and you know, may the best man win. That's no problem with us. I think that's what happens in the banking world. You have GLC banks, you have private banks, all competing for a market, but the industry is very healthy, and from there they've grown on to international expansion. So I think what's happened in some industries is because there was a dominant player and there was never anyone else, that, you know, some of these historical things have come in. So crowding out is not an issue for us, but just having a level playing field and being well regulated so that the industry can grow. No, I'm not. I think I've been very public about that. I think, you know, it's natural that you're not going to get a level playing field there. So, or if they can be owned, but then there must be an independent regulator to ensure. Yeah. So right now, am I asking for too much, or is MAB charging too much? Who knows? There's no one there looking at it to say what is the right charging mechanism.
Isn't the transport ministry play that kind of role?
No, it's transport and finance and khazana. It's all a little bit complicated.
Well, I think you're right in the sense that this is part of a series of liberalization being undertaken. I mean, he had already announced the liberalization in the financial services sector, but I suppose in today's terms, this is by far the boldest move, and I think it's a good thing. What else? I don't have anything specific to actually hope for. I think. The message would be to keep on doing the right thing, I suppose. I'm all for creating a more conducive environment for the business, without not at the expense of any particular segment of the community.
I think I mean, first one, as a stock market, in the Malaysian stock market, we would love a lot more liquidity to create more excitement in the market. If you look at the shares traded for MAS versus the shares traded for AirAsia, it shows you a clear liquidity issue, and there are so few shares traded. So, you know, I believe that this hopefully is a step forward to giving more independence to the GLCs. I mean, you see the Singaporeans starting to do it with independent boards, and the board has more control to hire and fire management, etc., and there's less power concentrated in one area. I think it's good for the Malaysian market. There's some very good world-class companies, you know, sitting next to one. Axiata, I think, has a wonderful group of assets, which is really, people aren't noticing the huge potential of those assets that they've got, because they're bogged down on some of the other things here. So I think there should be more liquidity pumped into the Malaysian market, more independent boards. Well, I think the guys who own it should sell down more and give it more to the public, to the Bursa Malaysia. When is the right time? When is the right time?
They are doing that.
A company's value is unlikely to increase if it's too tightly held. Yeah. So, everything needs to be done together. I mean, it needs to have a very good business model. It needs to have a very good management team, and there needs to be adequate free float of shares. Because without adequate free float, this is a common issue that's raised by many investors. They say Malaysia has many companies which are attractive, but it takes them too much time and too long. The friction cost of buying into shares is too high as a market compared to other more liquid markets. And at the same time, when they want to sell the shares also, it takes a while. So liquidity is an issue, and it's a prime concern to us at the exchange.
It's been defined as to why. Because if you define government-linked investment companies to include the EPF and the PMB, but these entities, they're not government per se. PMB, for example, in our case, Maybank, the shares actually mainly held by the unit trust funds managed by PMB as opposed to PMB per se. So it is actually owned by more than 3 million people, if like through the funds. And what's more important is actually how you govern these entities. And in the case of many of us, there's a separate board. Is very much independent. The main shareholders are not on the board per se, but they make sure that they will vote in people who have got credibility to serve on the board. And the board has got flexibility to appoint management, and they go through the process of selection, nomination, and so on. I think if you can actually apply the same principles to all these entities, and there shouldn't be any issue about GLCs being branded in a negative light.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why I say the banking industry is a model example of how private and public government-linked corporations can work together, and that's what I'm advocating. That there's more free float and independent boards who can hire and fire.
Yeah, I mean, as Wahid mentioned, it's important to have the right environment for the government. It should be facilitating and enabling, businesses to thrive. We need to create a much more dynamic and entrepreneurial environment, so that the likes of Tony can also, more people like Tony can come up through the market. If there is too much government intervention, then I think it sort of curtails, or people will only do business if they have links with the government. And I think that's not the right business environment that we want to have in this country.
Maybe you can also introduce another dimension. The issue of free float is not just confined to GLICs actually. In Malaysia, you also have many family-owned companies controlled by families. I think those will have to be dealt with at the same time as well.
Yes.
I mean, again, it levels the playing field. If you wanted to if a foreign investor wanted to, say, set up a plant or a business in Malaysia.
Steve Hager said it quite well, actually. It brings us back to where everyone else is. It doesn't move us forward, but it brings us back. Now I think the next thing is, as Wahid and others were saying, how do we take it forward? How do we make it more conducive?
Actually, sometimes it's an issue of perception, really. Well, although that process has been there, but there have been so many flexibilities
Yes,
given.
correct.
So extensions, moratorium been given.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, if that's been the case, that means that it wasn't that effective. So might as well remove it. So I think that's exactly what's been done.
Which is that's what the Prime Minister said. It wasn't effective anyway. So, but it just removes that stigmatism and it, carry on in a positive light, bring it back up to ground zero.